This is a Spooky 2 generator, and I'm going to get an oscilloscope. I'm going to get an analog, excellent condition, calibrated with certificate of calibration, like brand new with 2 channels, some quality brand. I don't know which one I'm going to get, but in the meantime, you know, this thing is a little quirky because I had to set it up a few times. But here's the settings. You notice 100% positive offset on channel 1, and here, right here, 100% positive offset on channel 1. You know, phase 0. Channel 2 is 180, 100, the other way around, negative offset, because you're doing inverse sync. And because, well, inverse, it makes it's sync, but to make it inverse sync, you put the phase at 180. But let's use this as an oscilloscope, right? It's going through, you know, the spooky boost, and I had to make sure the wires are correct. Like if I reverse the wires, we'll see the voltage changes the other way around. But it's going to 20 volts or 22 volts back to 0, just like it should be. Maybe it's not putting out 40 volts, but it's doing its thing, like it's doubling it up. It's not doing 4 times, but it's doubling it up. But you know, to tell you the truth, I set this up a few times, and it was coming out 20 volts or 21 volts and 10 volts. It was going down to 10 volts, not 0 volts. You see, the reason I can read this with a digital meter is because you can see what I have the hertz on, right? Like if we went to channel 1, we set the frequency, bring it down. You can even read it slower. So in a way, that's working like a real cheap oscilloscope. See? Just a digital multimeter. But in effect, it's doing the right thing. So now, I just want to say something here. Like if you switch the wires, let's turn it off a second. We switch these wires around. Shit. You gotta watch because I'm doing 2 things here. Take these wires, clicked it back on. You notice, switch them around, you'll see the volts will go the other way. You know, which you don't want. So, clicking on. Just the only thing I did was change the wires. Now it's minus. See that? It's minus. I don't know if you could see that. Is that better? See? Minus. See? Minus volts. So you got to make sure, like I marked this with tape, because this one will always go on number 1. But to be quite honest, I thought I did this several times. I've been messing around with this a lot, and it seems to be, there might be a specific order that you have to do this in to get it right, because it could go to 22 volts down to 10 or 10 point something, or 21 to 10 and a half, like that. It never goes to 0. Sometimes the channel 2, I don't know, maybe it's just this generator, I'm not sure, but it works now. It works now. So if I switch the wires around, here, get off of there. So in a way, you know, I just want to verify this because I don't want to be wrong. But now that I got this set up, I'm going to use the contact mode with the spooky boost, and it's clicking on, both running. See that? It's going full positive, then to 0, or like a slight offset. See, it even has a slight offset, like Hulda Clark said. But you're getting, see, her zappers are like, you say you start with a 9.5 volt battery or 9 volt battery, and it might be putting out 9 volts or maybe even under by the time it gets through all the electronics in the zapper device. This thing is putting out 22 with the boost. And this can come in very handy for the Hulda Clark frequencies that are like, you know, 355,000 or 370,000. I don't know what they are off the top of my head. But she has, to tell you the truth, she has very, very accurate information. It might be a slight range that you have to do, is because of the size of the organism itself. They could be small to large. but you know, actually maybe I don't know, it looks like you can do this. I am gonna order an oscilloscope. I might not order it today. I was looking at them last night. I got to study up. It's a field I'm not into, but I'll learn it, you know. And but you know, here we go. That's how it's set up. Now I'm showing 0.11 hertz because I want to show it on this gauge nice and slow. I don't have an oscilloscope, so I'm using just a digital voltmeter, but it's showing you it's only going to positive. And like, say for instance, if let's shut this off. And well, anyway, I checked it already. I'll just say, you know, if I do it in one channel and I don't have it as 100% positive offset over here, like in this, you'll see the gauge, and I put it on a very slow hertz. If I don't have it, I just have it on 0 offset. It'll go positive to negative, positive to negative. You'll see the no minus sign show up. So in a way, it's, you know, when you have it this slow, on that slow of a hertz, you can use this kind of like an oscilloscope to check the theory of how it's going. You can't look at the wave or nothing like that, but I am very much measuring the volts correctly. I can't be wrong. And I check to make sure, you know, what the kind of voltage is. I have 2 Hulda-Clark type zappers, and I checked them with this digital multimeter, you know, to make sure, you know, what kind of voltage they were putting out. And, you know, if it shows positive or negative volts, depending on which way I set the alligator clips and everything. So I think I got this 100% right, but I will be getting an oscilloscope, and you know, I got to watch what I'm getting because I want to make sure it has a certificate of calibration. We use one with a certificate of calibration that's in excellent condition. That's one of the standard workhorses of the industry versus getting some newfangled bullshit with excuse me, with you know, fancy colors on it and stuff. I want something just accurate, simple, plain, and maybe even you can only do to 30 megahertz, but that should be plenty. And 2 channels, but definitely I want it certified and you know, in excellent condition. So, but for now, I could tell you straight up, you know, here we go. 22 volts. And back to 0. 22 volts. Back to 0. 100% positive offset using Spooky Boost. You know, Spooky Boost right here. Okay. And this has got the signal mixer. So, but to be quite honest, I don't know. I set it up a few times and it was going 21 volts to 10 and a half. It wasn't going to 0. So I don't know, maybe there's some order of steps you have to do, but these are the settings. These are the settings. 100% positive offset on channel 1, provided you have the cable marked the right way. I mean, you can flip the cables the other way and have the offsets the other way, but once, I mean, it's more logical to use 100% positive offset only on channel 1. Negative offset on channel 2 because you're using phase 180. You're using a 180 out of phase with sync. So in other words, it does the opposite to channel 2 as at channel 1. That's why you're using negative offset over here. Seems to work fine. Seems to work fine. And I like this idea of being able to set up this Spooky Boost with this because this is a highly portable unit. And it's not much bigger than a zapper. Doesn't require batteries, and you don't even have to drag your computer out or nothing. So you can kind of, like, you know, if you just want to run some frequencies or something and just not pull your computer over to someplace and use it as a contact mode zapper, it looks like this Spooky Boost does work for sure with 100% positive offset. But like I said, I don't know, it seemed like I tried this several times before I got it right. And there might be an order of how you have to set this up in here, because it was doing 20 volts to 10 volts for a while, and you know, now it's doing 20. Well, it was doing like, yeah, it was doing like 20, 21, 22 volts to 10 volts. Now it's doing a 22 volts to 0, like it should be. So there's still a little bit of a mystery involved with this, but it is possible. It is possible, and I think this proves it, even though I'm not using an oscilloscope, because you know, I'm checking just voltage, and I'm using it on a very, very, very low hertz, right here, 0.11 for instance. So it should be accurate. It should be, you know, I'm making a true statement, but there is something funky with this, and I'm going to have to check it out further. But it is possible. It's definitely possible. And like I said, the portability of just using this generator, hey, you know, you got a zapper right here that's, you know, you don't even have to drag your computer out. It's a pretty kick-ass zapper. You know what I mean? Especially with that kind of power.